The debt crisis is getting worse. We're $17 trillion in the red, and Congress only has 17 days to pass a budget for next year. That's right. The Senate and the House, they're only going to work 17 days between now and October 1st, and that's when the fiscal year starts. So is there any chance of getting this done in time? Katie Pavlich, well, she doesn't think it's looking too good. Celia, Bigelow, and David Callahan, they're back as well. Katie, you're not too optimistic?
I didn't hear anything you just said, so I apologize. If you could repeat the question, that'd be great.
How optimistic are you that the House and the Senate in 17 days will figure out a way to come through with some sort of budget resolution? Not
optimistic at all.
Okay.
They like to have these things go straight down to the wire, and it's because it's lazy governance. And here in Washington, D.C., whether it's Republicans, Democrats, or even President Obama, who's about to take off for his 18-day Martha's Vineyard vacation, I doubt we'll see anything until they get back.
But Celia, you know, the thing is, this is one of those issues that now it resonates. You know, it's not one of these Washington-specific things that no one knows about. As we go down to that timeline, Wall Street's certainly going to be nervous. We worry about our debt ratings. I mean, this is something that Main Street pays attention to.
This isn't anything new, though, Charles. We were just in this position back in January, and we've always known that we're going to come down to this same debate. And it's because the left thinks that it's a taxing the rich problem. They think the rich aren't paying their fair share, and the conservatives in the House don't have the guts to hold strong on the debt ceiling and not raise it. So we're always going to keep coming back to this problem. We're going to keep punting it down the line. We're going to keep seeing it pop up even quicker each time, because government can't rein in spending. They cannot rein in spending. And quite frankly, Washington politics is like watching a dirty little rat hop on its wheel every once in a while and keep running and running and running, and they don't get anywhere.
All right, well, David, you know what, though? I got to tell you, last week, I think it was, the nuclear option was threatened. All of a sudden, you know, some compromises were made, some appointments went through. I thought that was perhaps a little bit of sign of hope that the nonsense in Washington may not happen this time again. We know it happens all the time, but maybe there won't be high drama this time.
Well, the bizarre thing is we're heading into possibly another debt ceiling showdown, even as the deficit is shrinking rapidly. I mean, the CBO has twice revised its estimates of the deficit in the last 8 months. We now have the lowest deficit projected this year any time in the last 4 years,
and you go from $1 trillion to $600
We've seen the fastest deficit reduction in the last 4 years since World War II, and it's a reminder that the big deficits of recent years.
You know what?
The big deficits of recent years were the product of the economy being in the dumps. And as we come out, as we come out of this bad economic times, the deficit will shrink rapidly. That happened under Clinton. It's happening now.
Celia? I'm just wondering, my question is, when are we going?
One at a time. Celia, go.
Washington, back in January, was facing the same problem, and the problem is spending. The problem is spending, Dave. And back in January, when they struck a deal, the CBO estimated that this particular debt ceiling deal was going to add $4 trillion to the debt over 10 years. You cannot tell me that that is deficit reduction.
Hold on one second. Katie, I want to come to you because you know what? I mean, really, at this point, $1 trillion, $1.1 trillion, $600 billion. I mean, it's numbers we never saw before, just in recent times. And the bottom line is the clock is ticking. And do we have the confidence to think that maybe it won't be another gigantic fiasco?
Well, the big joke is don't tell Obama what comes after $1 trillion, right? And we're seeing that play out both in the White House and on Capitol Hill. But the problem here is this. Look, we can say it's $1 trillion here, a couple billion here, whatever, doesn't matter. Deficits are shrinking. The one thing that isn't shrinking is our debt. And we're ticking up to $17 trillion in debt. And I'm just wondering, when the White House is going to take responsibility for its own economy. It's been 5 years. When are we going to see the unemployment rate go under 7%? When are we going to see that economic recovery? We're in summer of recovery number 5.0 now. Does anyone remember back in the day when Obama said he was going to fix everything? Is recovery summer? Well, we've been through 5 now. Gas prices are high. People are still unemployed. We're going nowhere.
All right, Katie, you threw a lot at David. I don't know if he was prepared to answer all of those. Okay, David. The debt will.
Hey, look, I think we've done a pretty good job over the past 4 years, considering that we had,
though, honestly?
Considering that we had the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression,
we know the rhetoric, but you also understand.
10 years to
you
get
also
out.
understand basic economics.
Bush.
Hold on one second. You understand basic economics. So the further back the recession goes, the better the recovery should be. This one stretched, and when we came back, we went. I mean, this has broken all the rules of logic, all the rules of economics, in part because, or largely because of the policies, right? Even Ben Bernanke continues to tell us that, fiscal policies are hurting our economy.
Look, I think one of the fiscal policies that's been hurting our economy is too much focus on deficit reduction. I mean, a lot of economists believe when you cut the deficit, you often put people out of work. We're seeing it with sequestration right now. Unemployment could be falling faster if we weren't firing defense workers and firing all sorts of people, government employees, through sequestration. It makes no sense. And here's the thing. Most Americans have said in poll after poll that reducing unemployment is more important than cutting the deficit. Yet Washington is doing just the opposite, and Republicans are bringing us to the brink of crisis again. I mean, you wonder why they're the minority party, right? It's like these people are tone deaf, right? On immigration, on gays, on the deficit reduction, on deficit reduction.
The Republicans only control the House, but you guys do a great job of thrusting the blame on them. Although I got to tell you, at some point, to Katie's point, maybe the president will accept that this is his economy. I tell you what, I accept that you guys were a great panel. You were lively, you were intelligent, you were smart. We appreciate it. We'll see you real soon.